Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Two Nobodies Talk. Now, you'll notice that Kyle Vaughn isn't occupying the other seat. Unfortunately, Kyle and I, we had to just do a bit of a break here, and, I love the guy, and I wish him all the best. And so it's going to be different not doing these with him, but, in the meantime, I'm going to find somebody and who can join these talks with me and have a lot of fun. I always enjoy these conversations with Kyle because we could just riff with each other. And that was the whole intention of the podcast, was just to have our conversations recorded and talk about all kinds of things. So definitely will miss the guy, but I'm really glad that you folks are tuning in and that you're sticking with me. And I can't wait to introduce our next guest, who's sitting in the seat today, May MacDougall. May got introduced to me by probably my number one fans, my mom, out of everyone. And she said, you have to talk to May. She's so interested in doing podcasts. So welcome, May, to Two Nobodies. Really appreciate having you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm pretty excited. So.
That's awesome. Why even be interested in this whole podcast world?
So like the last couple of years, podcasts have become more popular, and everywhere I go, people are like, oh, do you listen to podcasts? You gotta listen to this podcast. So I'm like, what is a podcast?
Jeez.
So when your mom told me, she's like, so funny because she goes to me for massage.
Right.
So she's like laying on the table and she lifts up her head. She's like, May, do you listen to podcasts? I'm like, what?
Enjoy your massage, Mom. Come on now.
I'm like, you're like the third person to ask me that. No, she's like, oh, because my son does a podcast. You should listen. I'm like, okay. So yeah, she's definitely a number one fan.
Jeez. I feel like she should be enjoying her massage and not talking about my podcast. But I'm glad it kind of brought us together.
Free advertising.
Yeah, totally. Indian mothers definitely know how to promote things. That's for sure.
Yeah, especially their sons.
Yeah, 100%. That's cool. I mean, there's like a million I don't know if you know this. There's like a million podcasts apparently out there. It's wild. Like everyone started a podcast over COVID. We were one of those. I'm hoping that we'll be around for some time when everyone just stops. All the people just stop doing their podcasts and we're still kicking around here. So I'm glad you can join me.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Your massage therapist is like,
yes.
Are you connected to health in a lot of ways, like personally, or is this like more of a profession thing, or is health like a critical part of your life?
Yeah, it's actually like my whole lifestyle.
Okay.
So yeah, I like to practice what I preach. Not always, like I don't always succeed. Like we tell our clients to stretch and then we never stretch.
Yeah. Oh, who's too stretch? Geez, I gotta stretch.
Or we're like, oh, make sure you drink water, and then like I forget to drink water because I had 6 clients and I'm so tired after. But no, it's actually like I live and breathe like natural health. Like since I was, I think 19.
Yeah.
I was dating a chiropractor.
Okay.
And he just taught me about like just letting your body heal itself without always taking like painkillers. So
yeah,
because I remember as a child, like even as a child, I always went to chiropractors. Like in high school, my friends and I, back then, chiropractic was covered for kids. So during lunch, my friends and I would all walk over to the chiropractic clinic and get adjustments at lunch.
Yeah, okay.
So then after high school, I met like this chiropractor and we started dating. And so then I was like, this is something I could like do, like something that's more health and just more natural, I think. And yeah, once I started working at a gym and working out, and I actually met a couple massage therapists at the gym. and they really liked the profession, and they were always like really healthy, like they were fit. So I was
Yeah.
like, it's such a hard job, and they're like, well, you got to work out, so you got to be healthy, and I'm like, I can
Yeah.
do that too.
So is that do you have like a daily routine at all?
um I like to, like, I have to stretch my wrists all the time, like no
Yeah.
matter where I am. Like, actually today I was on the treadmill and I was stretching like my wrists. So, and even like if I'm cooking or if I'm watching YouTube, I'll be standing up and I'm stretching.
Mm.
So that does help. Um, but I find because massage is, it's actually really therapeutic. So it's also good for me mentally too. I could be
Like
having a stressful
when
day.
you're providing massage,
Yeah,
do you find it therapeutic for?
yeah,
Okay, interesting.
yeah. Like right now it's construction season.
Yeah.
So like, so you're stuck on, like, I was stuck on Terwilliger and I'm messaging my client. I'm like, I'm gonna be running late.
Yeah.
But as soon as I start working on her, it's like, because I have to bring my mind down too, I
Yeah.
just feel a lot more calm just working on the client. So
Mm.
it's good for me physically and mentally.
Now, are you like, do you set, what kind of atmosphere do you set? Like, is it very kind of like, because there's those massage clinics that are more like medical in nature, like you can, I
Yeah.
don't know, it's just, and then you have ones that are a little
Yes.
bit more like have a more
Like
relaxing ambiance to
Zen.
them. Yeah. And
Hmm.
more like energetic kind of like, what would you say your clinic is like? Because do you own the clinic?
Yeah, I
Okay.
do.
Yeah.
So we actually do a mix. Like there's one room that's just like pure white.
Okay.
And it was actually my room. Cause I love white. Like I love white everything. Um, so it's just very pure white and it looks very medical.
Mm.
And then I gave that room away to somebody else.
Mm.
So now I'm in another room and it's like more zen. Like it's beige walls. It's got like a Buddha on
Yeah.
one side. But then we have like an acupuncture room and it's bright orange with, yeah, it's actually really pretty. Every, like, the first time people saw it, they're like, oh my gosh, it's so bright.
Yeah.
But like once we put all the plants in the room and then like white accents
Mm.
again, like, yeah, it actually looks really zen. So, but
I,
there's also like a dark room, like with
mm.
no window, because some people they cannot have windows in the room.
Oh, like for fear of being
Like
seen or?
migraines. No, some
Oh,
people have
okay.
migraines, so they
Mm.
need completely dark. But
Mm.
then some people have really bad anxiety, so they actually need a window. So we
Okay.
have a little bit of everything for everyone.
Yeah, seriously. What do you recommend for clients like after a massage? Do you feel like they should just like not do any exercise for a
You
few
just need
days or
to
something like
relax
that? Just
after.
relax. Yeah.
Yeah. After a massage, you should always take a hot shower. Epsom salt
Yeah.
baths are great, but
Yeah. Yeah.
always make sure you drink water after. I've had a couple clients, they didn't listen.
Mm.
So they actually like they went to their friend's house and like had a couple beer and they came back and they're like, "Is it normal for me to feel like really sick after a massage?" And I'm like, and then some people say like their another client said he forgot to drink water, so like all night like his mouth was really dry, like he
Oh,
just kept going
yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah, so drink water after a massage and don't go to the gym after. Like some people get a massage and then they go to the gym and lift weights. Like do the weights before the massage.
Yeah, I try to get a massage every month, and I would say I was
Yeah.
guilty in the beginning of like the next day just itching to go and work out, but then
Hmm.
I usually skip 1 or 2 days, but after that I
Yeah.
just have to get back. But yeah, if I find that definitely don't do anything like the next day. And you're right about the water thing.
No.
Like it's so critical. If you don't drink that
Yes.
water, you feel like shit. So,
Yeah, exactly. Because what a lot of people don't realize about massage is that it works internally too.
mm,
So, massage actually speeds up cellular metabolism. So,
mm,
that's why you have to pee after, you get
yeah.
hungry after. Some people feel dizzy, like they jump off the table. We always tell clients, take your time, don't sit up too quickly. I had a client that jumped off the table and he came out and he was like, I should have listened, I nearly fell over. Yes.
Well, your blood's just all settled, right? And pooled, I guess,
Yeah,
hey?
exactly. And
Yeah.
then they sit up and they're like, "Oh, I gotta go to work." And I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
just relax."
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Before
some people
we,
don't listen.
yeah, I know. Before we started the episode, you said that you were from the Philippines. When did you move
Yeah.
to Alberta?
I moved to Calgary, I think in 1993. I was
Okay.
7.
Oh, so it's been some time then.
Yeah, back when like Boeing 747 still existed.
Yeah.
So it's a long time ago. Like I still to this day remember the plane. It was Cathay Pacific,
Yeah.
and it had like a spiral staircase to the second floor. Yeah, it was amazing. Like imagine being a child and like you're leaving the country that you were born in.
Mm.
You walk into this airplane, it's like I remember running and they were called stewardess back in the day
Oh, I
too.
remember that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the stewardess were like running after me because I went right up to the second floor.
Mm.
Yeah, it
And
was
you're probably like,
beautiful.
you're probably thinking, were you thinking like, life is
I
gonna
wanted to
be
be on that
good?
side.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
I was like, Mom, I want to be on this side. My mom still laughs about that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because yeah, the stewardess ran after me.
And have you been back to the Philippines at all, or?
I haven't been back in 10 years.
Okay, that seems like a long time.
It's a really long time. I was hoping to go next year, but I don't think it's gonna happen though.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, my kids aren't vaccinated
Okay.
and they don't want to be vaccinated, so they
Mm.
want to wait until the mandate gets lifted and then because they do want to go. They want to go to the Philippines. So.
So with the vaccinations, is it because the Philippines is not allowing people to come in vaccinated? Because I think
Yeah,
hasn't Canada's dropped its mandate, I thought. So
I know Canada has. The Philippines is really weird right now. My mom was explaining it to me. You can either be vaccinated or not vaccinated, but you need to take the test
mm,
and like you have to quarantine. I don't know. So it seems like a lot of work, especially for my kids. Like
yeah,
they're so
fair.
young, right? Like you don't want
Yeah,
to, they're not going to stay home for 10 days
totally.
before they go to the Philippines. So,
Yeah, yeah,
so they just want to wait and see what happens.
yeah.
And so in the meantime, I'll just like save up money and like
Because those are big trips.
hopefully
Like, I
take
mean,
them. They are so expensive.
my mom goes. She's been going every winter, but I mean, normally
Yes.
people don't travel to India or those kind of places like for many years. But I mean, she's retired
Yeah.
now and she's good, so she can go
Yeah,
every
she
year
goes
and
every year.
yeah, and just
I
escapes the
know she
winter.
does.
So yeah, yeah.
It's so expensive. Like the ticket alone, you have to go for at least 3 weeks just to make the ticket price worthwhile. And then, of course, like your entire family's there, so they all want to see you. So the first 2 weeks, you're just going from one house to another. And then the last week, you can actually enjoy and relax and go sightseeing.
It's exactly the same. It's
Yeah.
exactly the same. Like, and you also need like that first week just to adjust, right? To back to like the
Yeah,
climate and
jet
time
lag.
and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, and then everyone you're
Yes.
right wants to see you, and it's like you never.
Yep.
It doesn't even feel like a vacation by the end of it, right?
No, like with my family, we have a lot of kids. So, like, you rent a hotel room, you have to rent one with like a living room and couches because everyone will stay in the hotel with you.
Okay.
And they're like sleeping on the couch, they're sleeping on the floor just because they want to see you.
Yeah.
And it's actually really sweet,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a
It's
lot.
I don't know. I imagine it's the same. Like personal space is not a thing in India. I imagine it's
Yeah.
not the same, and it's the same in the Philippines. No, there's no such thing as personal
No,
space yet.
there's no personal space. I remember like, because when I went back 10 years ago, it was for my great grandmother's funeral.
Mm.
So we were, I don't know if you know about Filipino funerals, but like,
No,
you
nothing
cannot leave
actually.
the church.
What do you mean? What do you mean you can't leave the church?
So it's an open casket, and
Okay.
somebody has to stay in the church at all times. You cannot leave the casket alone by itself. So superstitious, if you leave, this evil spirit will come and get the soul. So we're all sleeping like in the pews overnight. Yeah, so there's no personal space.
So that is different. I had not heard
Yes.
about that before.
Yeah.
But
Oh
like,
yeah, it was
is it
very
just
fun.
for the funeral or is it for like how
It's
long?
like a 20-day event.
So
Yes.
the family is staying there for 20 days?
Yeah, we can leave the church as long as somebody
There's
stays
somebody
in.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, the best is when you're by yourself and you have to like use the bathroom. So hopefully somebody walks by and then you get that person to stay in the church.
Oh, so like, but
Yes.
isn't like the bathroom? I imagine is still in the church, though, right?
There's no bathroom in the church. The church that we have is like this tiny little church that my great grandfather helped build.
Okay.
So it's just like this tiny little chapel, and the coffin is at the front with like pews. And yeah, we just lay there and sleep there. And yeah, we bring food there. We just cannot stop. So yeah,
Talking.
no, personal space is not a thing there. Like,
I
it
mean,
doesn't
talk about
exist.
respect to your elders too. Like that's some serious respect to
Absolutely.
be able to do
Oh,
something like
yes.
that.
Yes. And October is actually the 10-year anniversary
Mm.
of the funeral. So yeah,
Mm.
October is always like really weird for me now.
That's pretty cool though that you got to see your great grandmother.
She was already like gone. Like
Oh,
I
okay.
got out of the like I flew to Vancouver and then I got the message that
Oh,
she
okay.
already passed.
Okay.
It was the worst trip, like 14-hour trip. I was just crying on the
Mm.
plane the entire time. But there were like other people crying too because all their relatives passed away that day as well. It was very strange. It was a weird day. So afterwards, like a bunch of us like got off the plane and we were all talking like this is so weird. Like everyone on this plane was here
Mm.
because like somebody passed away. So yeah, so even October is a weird month for me. So
Yeah, maybe you don't want to go back during this month at all or something.
no,
Yeah.
definitely not. No. So this month of October, I was like waiting for something to happen.
Oh, that's not a good way to live. Nay.
No. No, but I'm always positive. It's just this month, just this month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were mentioning also earlier that you had a little bug in your house, and you're like, "What the
Oh,
heck is that
yeah.
thing?" Like, and then you're telling me it's a cockroach, but you're like, "That is not a cockroach," because you've seen
No.
cockroaches, and that's not one. Like,
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
tell people about what a Filipino cockroach looks like.
Okay. So cockroaches in the Philippines are like this big.
Was
Like
that like
they're
2 inches
massive.
or like?
Yeah. Oh, they're big. And like you step on them, they don't die. They just like fly at your face. So I'm used to that. Like that's what I saw as a child. It was normal. So in my apartment here in Canada, there is these tiny little bugs in my apartment. I didn't know what it was, and even my kids were like, "What the heck is this?" And I was like, "I don't know." So I just like got some toilet paper, picked it up, flushed it down the toilet. But then I kept seeing them, so I was like, "Hey, this is getting weird. Like I should tell the landlord, but I don't know what to tell them. Like there's
Right.
a bug." So I just typed in like little brown bugs on the internet, and then like the picture popped up, and that's what a cockroach looks like, but it's so tiny. So I didn't know. Yeah. So my place is it was already fumigated a couple weeks ago, so we had to like move all the food out of the
Mm.
cupboards, like put it in the middle of the apartment. My kids were home, my dog was home, so we had to like leave the house for 8 hours. It was great.
And
Yeah.
cockroaches are done.
No, they're still here because apparently they lay their eggs and then the eggs hatch. So they're coming back in a couple weeks. They tried to come back um, last week, but I just couldn't. Like I had my kids and I had my dog. It was just too much work. So I actually got a notice because I was non-compliant. I have to pay $250 now. And I'm like, what the heck?
That doesn't seem right at all.
$250 for non-compliance because I was like getting in the way of the landlord's job. So I'm actually really mad. For those that know me, know I hate like wasting money. So $250, I'm really upset about it.
For these little things that we
For this
supposedly
little
call
bugs,
cockroaches, eh?
cockroaches. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're tiny. And I was thinking like, why didn't I just like get raid? It's what they do in the Philippines. But no,
Mm.
apparently like because it's the apartment building, you have to like contain it.
Mm.
So, well, I don't want to like get in the way of the landlord anymore. So, it's on my calendar. I will move all of my groceries out
All right.
in the cold. It's gonna be November 8th. So, it'll be like minus 20 outside.
I don't want to facilitate any more conflict between you and your landlord. So,
No,
yeah. But that's a shitty situation. But funny to
it's
hear though, like
very
in terms of the
frustrating.
differences between a cockroach
I
here and a
know,
cockroach in the
right?
Philippines. Yeah.
No, seriously, I was so confused. I'm like, what the heck are these tiny things? And I even showed them to my kids. I was like, I can't believe these are cockroaches. And like, this compared to this, I had no idea. Because I'd never seen a cockroach in Canada. It's my
This
first
is the
time.
thing. Like I think we have some scary I should say we don't have that many scary like creatures here in Canada, except like
No.
in the forest there's some scary things like bears and wolves
Yes,
and
definitely.
the cougars,
Porcupines.
porcupines. These things, I mean, these things are pretty scary.
Skunks.
But like we don't have any crazy snakes or that sort of thing,
No.
and at least those are the things I think that I don't know if I can handle, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it's definitely different in Canada. Like, I just like Canada a lot more. The Philippines is so different. Like, the rats are like this big.
I got a phobia of mice, so I can't even deal
Me
with.
too.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I am so scared of mice. If I see a mouse, I will jump on the table, or like
Um,
whoever's in, I will jump on their back. I don't know why they're so tiny, but I'm scared of them. I'm terrified of them.
for me, I think what it is about mice is that they can
They're
sneak,
tiny.
they can sneak into
Yes.
anything, and you don't
Yep.
even know if they're there. And I don't know if you know, they can like deform and
They
change your
can.
rib
I
cage
know.
and squeeze
Yes,
into
I
tight. Like
know.
it's just not
Yeah.
right. So I'm
No.
like, are you there or are you
Ugh.
not there? And I think it's like the
Ugh.
surprise piece that I'm not good with, but I don't
Mm-mm.
know.
No. No,
Yeah.
they creep me out. And I can't handle rodents. Like I can't handle hamsters, gerbils. I
Mm,
can't handle anything that is related to a mouse. I just can't do it. Like, yeah, no,
that's fair.
no, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna ask you when we were talking about recording together. I was like, what interests you? And you're like, I have a lot of issues I want to talk about. Like, what's
That's how I talk. I have a lot of
well, I
issues.
don't. Maybe well, that's maybe what I heard in my head. So that's funny. But yeah, no, I'm curious as to like what fuels your soul. Like, what are these things that are just you're always thinking about or churning on or curious about? Like,
Yeah,
is there anything that sort of comes to mind?
a lot. Honestly, like I think I was born in the wrong era, to be honest. Like,
Okay.
yeah, I just think society nowadays is just too much to handle sometimes. Like, to the point that I almost feel like depressed or like suffocated by it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think, yeah, there's a lot of issues in the world, so,
Like
and
when you
I
say
don't know,
suffocate in what way? Like what makes you feel that way?
everything that's happening right now, globally, like sometimes I look at my kids and I'm just like, and this is gonna sound so bad, but a part of me hopes like maybe they shouldn't have kids.
Hmm.
Like this is the kind of world that they're gonna bring their
Hmm.
kids into. Like it's that kind of feeling that I get sometimes.
I don't know if you know this, but I mean, there are people who, for example, you think about the issue of climate change, who there are many people who don't want to bring their kids into that,
Yeah.
right? And one, because they don't want their kids to suffer from it, but two, they don't want to add, to the
Yeah.
problem in
You
the
are
sense
adding
of
to the problem.
the way I think of it, though, like I mean, like that was actually interestingly enough, like that was kind of a conversation between my wife and I. My daughter's about 4.5, but I mean, we really did want a child. Um, but the way I think about it is also like we also need great leaders and we need great people on
Yes.
this planet too. And so to me, it's like I have a role in contributing to that, right? Like I can play a role in raising my kid and helping ensure that she is a contributing member of society. She
Yes.
can potentially, help present solutions and be a part of
Yep.
the change rather than contributing to the issues, right? So,
Yes,
and I think we need
definitely.
more people like that. So I think there's like a couple of ways to think about it, but yeah, you're right. It is definitely a thought that parents go through more and more these days,
Yeah.
hey? Yeah.
Yep. And like a good example was my coworker, because I also work in like finance.
Okay.
So I asked him, he just had a baby like 4 months ago, and I was like, "Did you guys open an RESP account yet for your baby?" And he was like, "Oh, he's too young." But I'm thinking like, it's not gonna get any cheaper.
Mm.
Like to think of how much like 18 years from now, like I can't imagine having to pay for post-secondary 18 years from now.
Yeah.
And like even the groceries, I can't remember what it was that I was buying, but it went up by like $3, which doesn't sound like a lot, but from like it is.
It is a
That
lot
is a
for sure,
huge
especially if it's
increase.
staples like things that you commonly buy, right?
Yeah.
Like if your groceries have gone up,
Oh,
I
it's
think
chicken.
100%.
Chicken that I eat all the time. That's all I eat is chicken. It
Yeah.
went up $3.
Yeah, I mean, meat has gone up. Everything's pretty much gone up. I think I was
Yeah.
hearing that as much as 11 to 15%, like the
Yeah.
rate, and that's hard on many families.
Hmm.
Like I was just reading the other day, not surprisingly, I mean, the food bank demand has gone through the roof in Canada, right? So,
Yeah.
a lot of people are struggling for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also worry too, like, where are my kids gonna live?
Mm.
Like,
Like
are they gonna
in
be
what
able to
way?
actually, are they actually gonna be able to buy a house?
Oh, okay.
Or are they
Yeah.
gonna have to rent a house with like four roommates to be
Mm.
able to afford it?
Mm.
These are things I think about at night because, like, my son is 12. He already told me he's gonna live with me while he's in university.
Yeah.
He says, I'm gonna live with you while I'm in university until I can afford to buy a house. And
Mm.
like, will he be able to afford a house?
Mm.
Yeah.
It's 100% serious consideration. I mean, when my parents bought a house in early 1980s, I mean, it was probably 3 to 4 times your income, perhaps.
Yeah.
Now it's houses are 25 times your income. Like you can't. It's yeah. I mean, none of that is changing. Our wages are not definitely keeping up with house prices,
No,
and I mean,
definitely
house
not.
prices are dropping now, but like not to the extent of where it's still making things affordable. And like we're talking about Canada, a country that's so big and has so much land and
Yeah.
resources, but yet our
Yes.
housing market is so expensive compared to other countries. So
Yeah. I know.
yeah.
It's pretty scary. So I try not to think too much about the future. Otherwise, I will lie in bed at night,
Mm.
just tossing and turning, thinking about it. So, and it's tough. Like, I talk to my friends about it, and we just remind each other not to worry. Because there's nothing we can do about it right now. But at the same time, it's sad that, like, we are, like, being passive about it.
Mm.
So, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You don't want to worry about it because you don't want to be stressed out, but at the same time, we're not doing anything about it. Like, we're kind of
Yeah.
just going with the flow. It's, oh, inflation is here. Okay, then I guess we'll have to like just spend more money on what we need.
Well, I mean, something like inflation, like the individual probably doesn't have much of a role in this. Like these are large
Yeah.
global, forces at play, which, all these, whether it be central banks playing a role and obviously a huge role in inflation and
Yes.
increasing money supply, or governments with all their
Yeah.
COVID spending, which obviously,
Yeah.
I mean, people can argue one way or another, but, a lot of it was necessary probably. But, it's all kind of contributing to things, right? So,
Yeah. So
yeah.
that's what I mean. Like I feel I was born in the wrong era.
What era
It's
would
just
you
too
have,
much.
what era
I
would
always
be?
pictured myself like in a perfect world, I would live on a farm, grow my own food, no
Oh,
neighbors
that's my
around.
wife's gonna listen to this and be like, "That is my dream. I like this person more."
Yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah, that would be my dream. Instead, I'm like in a city and I open my windows, I see a parking lot.
Mm. Yeah, that's yeah, especially if that's the kind of life you want, that would be tough to live in
Yeah,
an apartment and do that.
it is. Yeah, I always thought I would live on an acreage and have 5 kids, but
Mm.
the universe has different plans, obviously.
It's tough when your reality doesn't meet your expectations, right? Like, and
No.
that's a hard thing. We all have expectations about different things, and but I think the more we let go of those expectations and
Yeah,
just kind of live as present as we can, it's probably better. But you have hopes and you have dreams, and it's hard to let go of those things, right? So
yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. Um, okay, well, I mean, it sounds like you got a lot of heavy things on your mind that's kind of keeping you up. Is there anything that you feel like is just burning that you just want to like chat about? Like you're just like, I need to like just talk to somebody about this issue or topic.
Um, there's a few actually. Let's see. Let's see. What about like using people's benefits up? That's something that's been bothering me for a while.
Like just
So I
the
think
fact that people do this, or
no, the fact that they haven't been. So with
oh,
the
okay,
clinic,
yeah,
yeah, usually around October we are so busy with people trying to use up their benefits
okay,
by the end of the year because it does roll over.
Yeah.
and like renews. Yeah, so we're wondering where all these people are. So our our theory is that October was such a nice month, like weather-wise, that people
Mm.
have just been out and about doing their own thing. But realistically, there's only like a month left to use up their benefits. And like your mom uses up her benefits. If she can do it, other people can.
Totally. Well, I know. I think, yeah, my benefits renew now in January, but when my previous job, my benefits were always renewing in June, July kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yep. It's either, depending on the policy, it's either July or January.
yeah. So this is on your mind because you're like,
We're just wondering where everybody
where do the
is. Like,
people go? Yeah.
where are the people? Like, we're looking, it's like we're actually sitting around just confused about it because usually September, like, we all go on vacation in September because mentally we're like preparing for October. We're like, all right, by October, everyone's back to work. It's like, okay, everyone's back for October and like none of our clients are there. So it's just very strange. This whole year has just been very strange. I'm ready for like 2023.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's yeah, especially like as a business owner, if you're expecting like, certain months to be higher in revenue and that's not happening,
Yes.
that's probably really hard to manage, hey?
It's very hard and it's just very confusing. Like we don't know what's going on, so it's a huge surprise because October, November, December are the three busiest months, and then slows down for the new year. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're just so confused. So we're just reminding people, and we actually had clients 2 days ago who didn't even know that it expired or renewed in December.
Hmm.
So I guess a lot of people don't know either. So.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know why that would be because my wife's a naturopathic doctor, and I know she always says when their benefits are about to expire, like people are coming
Yeah.
to her clinic like left, right,
Yeah.
and center. So I'm not sure what's going on. But,
Yeah. No, usually we're turning people away by now. Like we'd be so full by October, but no. So wherever these people are, don't forget. You only have 1 month now. So hopefully like when the snow comes, and that's the thing too, like there's no snow. Because once the snow comes, people are coming into the clinic for massage. Like they have nowhere to go but to get a massage.
so maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just the weather here in Alberta. It's
Yeah.
been kind
It's
of
been so nice.
unseasonal. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
been very nice this month. So,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah.
Are you someone who like when you talk about wanting an acreage, wanting to grow your own food, is like the environment something that you care passion? Are you interested, like you care about, or like what's
Yeah.
how do you factor sort of the environment in your life? I guess.
So I love the outdoors. I
Yeah.
love nature. Um, yeah, I do care about the environment. Like I'm very like we recycle. My kids know not to litter.
Mm.
It's we try to do our part, but I've just always found living like being out on an acreage so peaceful.
Mm.
And yeah, I think for my like I think if everybody could just like experience that for a bit, our mental health would be probably a little bit better.
Like I don't know if you heard. My wife's been learning more and more about grounding or earthing. Have you heard about that?
Yes. Any chance I get, I will walk around the grass bare feet.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, that is also my wife. Like in the
Yeah.
summertime, you see in the morning, she's just like walking barefoot. Or my
Yeah, that's
daughter's
me.
now walking barefoot and
Yeah.
everything.
I
Have you heard
encourage my kids.
have you heard of this person? I think they call her like Barefoot Susie or Susan or something like that.
No.
She's apparently very well known for like the earthing, grounding kind of movement or whatever. But she just everywhere she goes, she just walks barefoot. And she
Oh,
had I don't know if it was somebody from the news channel Vice or Vox or whatever, but I think somebody did a piece with her and she decided to, or maybe she was just somebody else has a YouTube channel or whatever. But she spent the day with Barefoot Susan and the looks that they would get walking in stores or whatever. But yeah, it was
I
really
can
interesting.
see
But
that.
she's just she's always walking barefoot, like it's just a thing.
Uh, yeah, like from a like hygiene point of view, I wouldn't want to walk barefoot everywhere.
Or
The
massage those
grass for
feet
sure.
probably for those.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
no. That's like our one of our worst nightmares. During the summer, people will come in like from wearing flip-flops all
Mm.
day, and their feet are so dirty, yeah, please wash your feet.
I just always feel like I always like take a shower before I massage because I'm like
Yeah,
I
same.
just want to be like I wouldn't feel comfortable like I don't know just
Yeah.
I want to be respectful to the person who's doing the
Yes.
body work like I
Yeah.
need so
No, I agree. I tell my kids too, because my kids get massages.
that's
And
pretty
my
good.
son was like, yeah, they have benefits.
Mm,
So you got to use them up.
true.
But my son was like, why would we need to shower before massage when we have to shower after the massage?
Mm,
And I was like, you want to be respectful to a therapist. You are at
right.
school all day, running, sweating. You don't want to go in there and be full of sweat and germs. Like, just ethics, right? So it
Totally.
just, yeah, like, no, we put up with a lot. So,
Yeah. Have you do you find earthing and grounding beneficial? Like have you noticed anything or is it just
yes, I
or do
feel
you feel
so
like
much
it's a mental
happier.
thing? Okay, that's yeah,
Yeah.
no. Yeah.
No, during Heritage Fest, I was helping my friend out at the Chilean pavilion,
Mm.
and like it's all grass, so I just kicked off my shoes and all day I worked bare feet, and I felt so happy. I just felt so free.
We are kind of
And it was,
confined by our shoes for sure.
yeah, oh, definitely. And he even saw me and he was like, oh, nice, you're earthing. I'm like, yes. So he knew exactly what I was doing.
My wife has one of these earthing mats or these grounding
Oh,
mats, and so she it plugs in, and I guess it plugs into like the grounding part of the outlet or something. And so I was
okay.
like, she's not so sure if it works or not or how
Yeah,
she feels about it, but anyways, she's trying that out in addition to like just earthing
yeah,
naturally on the ground or whatever like that. But yeah, they
yes.
have so many of these different
I know.
things, and it's
But
like
you have to wonder, like, are they just doing it now? Like,
totally, yeah.
is it actually real? But the reason I got into earthing is because as a child we used to go camping
Mm.
all the time. So I was used to just walking around barefoot. It was just normal, just everywhere, barefoot, barefoot. And then as I got older, I was like, I never walk barefoot anymore. So so then I like started reading up on walking barefoot, and that's when I read about like earthing, and I was like, that
Yeah,
just makes so much sense.
yeah.
Are you not into it?
No, I'm not saying I'm not into it, and I think that there's something there about energetically about connecting to nature,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I do think that yeah, whether it be like walking in water or just like being
Yes.
surrounded by trees or whatever it
Yep.
might be, like I think there's a
Yes.
larger energy out there that I think we can all connect
Absolutely.
to, and it not even in like a hokey kind of way. Like I think there's energy all around us, right? And so
Yes.
I do believe in that. I just don't understand. Like my science brain, like in under trying to
Yeah,
understand
you're like
mechanisms and stuff,
earthing.
I'm like, I don't understand how that works. But we had somebody on our podcast who talked about scalar light, and I was like, what is scalar light? And it actually is one of our most viewed episodes, and it was really interesting because I
Oh,
think people are just looking for different forms of healing, but
yeah.
essentially he's saying that everyone has a light signature, and there's two types of energies: electromagnetic and scalar. And he said that with
Scalar.
every light signature, he's developed some sort of machine. And honestly, you can watch or listen to this episode, but I still don't really understand how this works. But essentially, he's saying that he has this machine where he can take a picture of like I don't know different pathogens or different things that ail the body. And if he has a picture of the person, and it can't be a doctored image, it has to be like a true
Yeah.
picture of somebody. He can, using scalar light, he can actually um, eradicate that disease from somebody. And
What?
it's like
Okay, I'm gonna watch that
it's
one.
kind of like a form of like quantum healing to some extent, right?
Is it a little bit like Reiki? Or is
Well,
it like
I think
stronger than
I think
Reiki?
I might have asked that question actually. I think it's again around the principles of quantum healing, just using like a
Yeah.
different way of accessing it, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Because I've never heard of it, because I do Reiki,
yeah,
but I've never heard of scalar, so I'm gonna look that up.
when you do Reiki, do you is it completely hands off?
Yeah, I do hands off. I actually find it stronger. I tested it on a few different people.
Mm,
Hands off is actually stronger. They feel it more.
mm.
And yeah, I really love it. It's
Mm.
Have you had it done?
My massage therapist who I've worked with for like 6 years now, she's amazing. Um, she also does that, but she's like, Rupesh, I don't know if you will be in the mindset for it. And not because she doesn't think that I would enjoy it, but more so because I'm there for another purpose, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
there for a therapeutic massage. And she's
Yeah.
like, if we're going to do this, it would have to be the whole session. And like, you just have to be fully there. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not ready yet. So I'm open to it. I would love to try it, but it's like, I have my one massage a month, and I'm like, I look
Yes, you
forward to
don't want
that. I'm like,
to.
I don't
Yeah.
want to, I don't want to mess around with that. So,
Yeah.
at
Maybe
some
do
point I'll
like
try it.
one massage and then do a 30-minute Reiki after.
That's an idea.
Yeah. I mean, you
Yeah,
have
that's right.
benefits, so.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will warn you though about Reiki. The very first time I had it done, I was not like mentally and emotionally balanced. I felt really sick after.
Okay.
Yeah, so it will affect each person differently. I can get Reiki now and I will feel great.
Mm.
But I do remember the first time I had it done, I was going through a lot. And um, grounding, like the therapist had to ground me because I was going to throw up. And I had to drive her to the train station
Mm.
because she took the she took the train. So I had to drive her to the train station. And we're like, we're not driving anywhere until you feel better. So she had to ground me, like imagining like my legs were made of roots and I was
Yeah.
planted like on the ground. But I was actually scared of Reiki after that. I didn't get it done again for about 10 years.
Okay. Well, you're not
'Cause I didn't want
selling
to
it.
feel sick.
You're not selling it to me right now. So,
But but you seem like you're in a good place in life.
I guess so. Yeah.
So you should be okay. You should be okay. It does affect everyone differently, and I find everyone feels it differently.
Mm.
My mom said her legs feel really warm. I had it done last month it was after a breakup. So I wasn't in the best mind frame either. And I felt really cold. And my leg actually jumped and
Mm.
I nearly kicked the Reiki practitioner. So yeah, depending on where you are in that like stage of your life, you're gonna feel different every time. So that's what I like about it. You never know how you're gonna feel after.
Do you, when you're working with a client, do you sometimes can you feel something going on, but you might not want to necessarily talk about it because you never know if like you're hitting on something sensitive or whatever. But do you ever know? Is there anything interesting that you've noticed about a client where you're like something's going on with them, like not musculoskeletal wise, but
Yeah.
something else is going on with them? But you
Like
can,
intuitively?
yeah, but you can feel it because like you're a
Yeah.
Reiki healer. Like,
Yeah.
do you have any examples of like some wicked things that maybe like you have noticed and then you're like actually got it confirmed and you're like, okay, wow, that was,
Yeah. People who have anxiety, like
yeah.
somebody who is really happy and you see them, they're always happy. And then I'm working on them and I can just feel like they're hiding something.
Mm.
Yeah. And then you find out after that they were actually like going through something that week that they just didn't want anybody to know about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can try to release that blockage. So hopefully they let it out and go see a counselor.
My massage therapist, she said something about like I'm always really like when she's working on my back, I'm always really tight through the left side of my body, and she said that could be what did she say? Something like she's like there's a pain that you're holding on to, and like my dad passed away about almost 5 years ago, and so she's like it's always been there, right? Like since compared to before. I'm gonna mess it up, but anyway, she noticed something in my left side of the body, and it's definitely when she asked me about it, I was like yeah, that's true or whatever, and she's like interesting because she's like she noticed something and she's a Reiki healer. Anyways, that's why I asked the question, but
Yeah. So
yeah.
it's pretty neat. I like how like we're able to pick up on that. So
Yeah. Do you think that everyone has like this sort of like do you know what a medium is?
I do. I go to one.
Okay, so well then that answers my question, because I was gonna say, well, not necessarily. I guess if you believe in one, because clearly you do.
Yes.
But do you think that everyone has like some sort of medium ability? Because I've heard
I
that
think so.
I've heard that from somebody who is not like a practicing medium, but someone who has gotten more into it, and they've said that everyone has that ability. It's just kind of tuning into that a little bit more.
Yeah. I think honestly we're all born with it, but a
Mm.
lot of people don't believe in it.
Mm.
Because I remember my son used to see things all the time. Like everywhere we went, he would see something and he'd describe them, and
Mm.
so he definitely had that ability. But as he got older, he got more busy, and I think I read somewhere, because you go to places like the Philippines or India, and it's a lot more prominent there.
Yeah.
Like people are always seeing things there. Then you come to Canada and it's like, oh, it doesn't exist. It's not
Mm-hmm.
real.
Mm-hmm.
So I read somewhere that when people get too busy, they actually block out that part of their senses. And I
Mm.
believe that.
Mm.
I can see that if you're too busy, you're not going to be able to have time to actually focus and tune in on something that you can't actually see.
Well, yeah, you're so connected to like the physical
The
senses,
physical,
right? That
yeah,
like you don't have the capacity or even ability to recognize like the metaphysical or whatever. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I didn't start being able to tune in until like I actually started doing yoga a few years ago.
Mm.
So you need to definitely have that more meditative state, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're just like go 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 go, you're not gonna be able to see anything.
Yeah. I'm hoping. I've never actually accessed one, but I have. My wife has, and I know other people who have, and they've had some interesting experiences. I would
I
love
just
to.
went to one like a couple days ago, so it's funny you brought it up. I go to one every year. So
Okay.
yeah, I've been going to psychics and mediums like every year for the
And
past 10
how
years.
did you choose that medium? Like, how did that person come into your life?
She was actually referred by a client. This
Okay.
client came in, a massage client,
Yeah.
all excited, and she was like so excited about life. Like I'd never seen her so happy before, and she told me about this girl, like, and so I got her number and went to her right away, and yeah, it was pretty amazing. A lot of what she said came true,
Yeah.
like a lot. It was scary. So I just go every year. I actually tried to contact her this year for my
Mm-hmm.
yearly checkup, but it turns out she passed away. So, yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah. So I
Mm.
didn't ask what happened, but I did. I was able to find another one who I think is just as good as her. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Looking at the time, I was wondering if I think I told you this. I like to ask all my guests whether this is part of Kyle and I did this when we first started out. We had this whole five for dinner
Yeah.
episode, and we're like, let's just ask everyone this question, and so that's kind of been a
Yeah.
staple. And are you okay?
Yes.
Are you okay for me to pivot
I'm
to those
all
questions?
ready.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. I'm glad you prepared. Okay,
Yes.
so dead or alive, 5 people you'd want to have dinner with. And curious if you'd want them individually or together.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I'll put you on the
Oh,
spot
definitely
here.
together.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If these 5 people are together, it's going to be a good time.
Okay.
So Freddie Mercury,
Okay.
Avicii,
Okay.
Elon Musk,
Yeah.
Victoria Beckham,
Okay. Interesting.
and Anne Rice.
Have a little bit of class on that table. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Some fashion sense. You
Yeah.
can dress everyone at the table.
Yeah. And who's the last person?
My favorite author, Anne Rice.
Okay, I don't know who she is.
Yeah,
What
she's
kind?
known for the Vampire Chronicles.
Okay.
So she wrote Interview with the Vampire.
Okay. I think I've heard that book. Yeah. Cool. And so who do you think leads that conversation?
Oh, I would say Freddie Mercury would lead the conversation. Yeah, he would
Yeah.
just take over. He'd probably stand on top of the table.
You know what's fun? I think somebody recently on our show said Freddie Mercury. I think he'd be an awesome person to have for sure.
Yeah.
Died
Yeah,
too soon, that's for sure.
Yes, very talented. amazing vocals. He's definitely one of my favorite singers. My kids love him. Yeah, it was very sad. Way too
Yeah.
young.
Yeah. Very cool list. Okay, last question. Besides the circle of life, what do you know for sure?
Change is the only constant thing in life.
I like that.
So you can either go with the flow or be stagnant. And as a Taurus, I hate change.
Taurus, what is that? What month is that?
It's May.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes.
I should have guessed that, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great quote. Or the change happens to you, right? If you don't go with that change. Yeah. That's beautiful. May, I really enjoyed talking to you today, getting to know you a little bit more. I don't know if you know, but this is actually episode 50. So
nice.
I was always hoping for a Two Nobodies Talk episode on episode 50. Honestly, I can't believe that like it's been 50 episodes. Like we started this in beginning of January and just doing this in the evenings or on a weekend and spending those hours or whatever and having like 50 episodes, like with the length of our podcast, like that's
a lot.
75, 80 hours of recordings plus all the work and stuff. So anyways, I'm glad that you're able to join me on episode 50.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun.
Awesome. And hopefully we can do this again. Just want to thank everyone who's been listening to the show and has subscribed and has liked our episodes, and really appreciate sticking around for 50 episodes if you have, or even if you just joined us. It's all good. And I'm going to have some more fantastic guests over the coming weeks, and stick around, and appreciate y'all. So thanks, May, again, and looking forward to our next chat.
Thank you so much.
All right. See you later.